Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Welcome to The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here. Dusty is with you. Huss is never ever going to join us again. Just kidding. Huss is going to be by right away as well. We've got a weekend to recap. We got a 4-game slate in the NHL tonight that we can definitely take a look at, and lots to celebrate from the weekend. Big MMA weekend for the DGen Den, which was big. Just big bet after big bet after big bet apparently being cashed over there as well. And Min Woo Lee coming through for Patty and I at a 40-1 play. And that's a couple of golfers in like the last 5 tournaments that I've been able to hit. So that's, man, I was here for the Alejandro Toasty run though. That would have been absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, he did not get it done. But the good news is Min Woo Lee didn't let it slip away to Scotty Scheffler. So we've got that there as well. Northside Sandwich over in the chat says, DJ Den out there buying my booze. That's buying something. That's good news. All right, let's bring in Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk. WST, of course, will be live here coming up at the top of the hour in Winnipeg. And we'll have the oil stream right here in Edmonton. Huss, how was the weekend, my man?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. We had for the WSTers that were with us on Friday night, we completed a 6-0 run with our games. Jets took care of business and then did it again yesterday. So as much as the Dallas Stars may never lose again, the Jets just have to keep on winning to stay in first place and stay in that top spot in the West. But man, from a betting standpoint, I mean, you nailed it right off the bat. Big Maple, Maple coming up big for the people. And, it was funny. He was asking me, hey, did you ride? And I said, I did. I was less convinced of a 3-gamer for the $25 bet. So I put 10 on the parlay, which cashed it over 11-1.
Beautiful.
And then one of the guys on that, I think that was a plus 120. I did the free bet with, but they all won. It was amazing. I did not get on this 21-1er from a north side sandwich. Unfortunately, that's on me. But other than that, we had it was a fun weekend. I had the Perfetti goal yesterday. Did you see his goal?
Beautiful goal. I thought of you guys when I saw that goal. I was like, oh man, Huss and the WSTers must be just loving Perfetti right now.
Well, in my seat too, I'm in the first row of the upper bowl in the corner, and that was basically coming right at me. Like if I had had my phone running on it, it would have been the most incredible angle of that goal. But it was that game yesterday. It was a little nervous through one because I don't love the afternoon games. I find they lack a lot of the juice of the evening games, and the crowd was good. It was full. There was tons of kids in the building, so there was a little bit of energy like that. But Vancouver went up 1-0, and it was a pretty low event game for a while. And then Kyle Connor scored on a goal that I'm sure Demko. I mean, listen, it was a great quick release, but he ripped it through his pads. It's not one that normally goes in. And the minute the Jets had it tied up, they really took care of it. And I guess, and there's probably a lot of Vancouver haters in Edmonton.
Yes, there is.
We're probably loving the fact that for all intents and purposes, the Jets put the final last few spades of dirt on the Canucks body, because I think they've got a 5% chance of making the playoffs now after that loss yesterday. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they are done. And to be honest with you, for all intents and purposes, the race for the wild card in the West is done now with what St. Louis has done.
Yeah, St. Louis beating Colorado. And we talked a little bit about how their schedule wasn't a bunch of bangers. A couple good wins in that heater, and obviously some easy ones. But then to go and beat Colorado in just a tight, low-scoring affair, man. Extremely impressive. It basically looks like it's kind of locked up right now with Minnesota and St. Louis. And I would assume St. Louis tracks down Minnie here, easy peasy. And
they have them. It's funny. I was actually looking at that, and I'm sure we'll spend some more time on WST today. Minnesota's got one more game than St. Louis does, but when you look at the standings right now, it's a dead heat. But Minnesota's technically in the first wild card again because they've got that extra point. The Wild's final games are what do they have? They've got the East road trip. So they're at the Devils, at the Rangers, at the Islanders. Then they come home for Dallas. And then their final 4 games are a little lighter. Sharks at home, at Calgary, at Vancouver, home to the Ducks. So St. Louis has one less game. And they have some tough ones in there, but they're at home this week to Detroit and Pittsburgh. So depending on what happens with that East trip from Minnesota and those 2 games, I mean, it's not inconceivable that they could, pad a lead up to 2, 3, 4 points. Then they've got the Avalanche at home. Then they come to Winnipeg a week today. Jets, Blues, Hellebuck, Binnington. That should be a beauty. And then they finish at the Oilers, at the Kraken, at Utah. So even though Minnesota has the extra game, I'm with you. I'm kind of with you that I think St. Louis probably locks down the 7th spot. And then assuming that the Jets can hold on to number 1, we could have Winnipeg, Minnesota in the first round.
How good would that be for you guys?
Absolutely hate each other. And for Jet fans, I mean, it's a 7.5 hour drive down to Minnesota to make that happen. And as much as people might not be planning on traveling to the States, that might change things very quickly when things get going. I did catch the Battle of Alberta on Saturday. Corey Perry's in full Corey Perry mode right now.
Corey Perry's just itching to get stuff going right now. And it's good that he is, because nobody else in the Oilers really wants too much of it. But Leon Draisaitl, and that'll lead us to another conversation here right away. But Leon Draisaitl returns from injury, sets up their first goal. They do not look dangerous in any other way outside of when he's on the ice. Then he ties it with his 50th and wins it in overtime on his 51st. Like, just back into the lineup with a statement, which leads to maybe the best race in the entire National Hockey League right now. Because as of this morning, as of this moment on Coolbet, it is a pick'em between Draisaitl and Hellebuck for the Hart Trophy. Minus 105, minus 105. Which is actually moved even since earlier today, because we were talking about this on the Nielson show earlier today, and I think it was Hellebuck minus 115, Draisaitl like plus 100, and as of this moment, minus 105, minus 105, and as people were texting in this morning, Huss, on Friday, before he returned from injury, he was plus 400 at Coolbet. So
I was supposed to bring that up.
Yeah, so big time move. Big time move.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were some Hellebuck bettors around here. I mean, there is this scenario, because we've been following these odds for the last month or so, but you will recall when Draisaitl was minus 150, Hellebuck was plus 200, and McKinnon was plus 850. And then McKinnon came down to plus 650, and the Hellebuck Draisaitl numbers got a little closer. And then Draisaitl got hurt, and immediately it was McKinnon plus 250, Draisaitl 4-1, and then Hellebuck was like minus 175 or minus 150. Listen, Dry's big game was huge for his Hart candidacy. I mean, I think there is always inevitably going to be some sort of, what have you done for me lately? I mean, Hellebuck's been absolutely brilliant from the start of the season right till now. I mean, he played 2 games on the weekend and gave up 1 goal.
Yeah.
So he's doing it. But I have a feeling that this is going to come down to a couple things. If the Jets finish with the best record overall in first place, I think that'll be huge for Hellebuck. If they...
What is he, 6 wins away from the all-time record too, isn't he? Yeah. So, because he 5 to tie at 48, 6 to take the record at 49 wins. He could get 6 wins, right? Is he going to play 7 of their last... How many games they got left?
Well, they have 8 games left.
Okay, so he'd have to play and win 6 of them.
He probably gets 6 starts.
Yeah, so you have to win out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if that's the case, then I would think, although there are some people that just like, and this is not a slight at Draisaitl, but I mean, the Draisaitl's having a great season, but this isn't like a historic season or anything like that. The fact that it is so close, I think, tells you just how difficult it is for a goaltender to really get into this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, only 2 goalies in the history of the NHL, and it hasn't happened since, I think, 1984, have led the league in wins, shutouts, goals against average, save percentage. Like run the table. Like even when Hasek was winning.
It's been that rare, really?
Yeah, twice ever. So, I mean, he's doing a lot of things that have never been done. And again, because it's a goalie, it's just he's out there every night. He's winning games. You don't have that sort of highlight impact that, a game like Draisaitl had on the weekend. But it's going to be close. I mean, listen, I think Dry is absolutely deserving. I mean, I'm pretty sure we know who our final three are going to be. It's going to be Nate, it's going to be Leon, and it'll be Connor Hellebuck. And we'll see what happens. But the fact that it's now a pick'em with 7 games left in the season actually is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. I think the one thing that pushes Leon here, we were talking about a little bit around here this morning. I mean, he's been as clutch as you can be for the Edmonton Oilers. Leads the league with 11 game-winning goals. Has 6 overtime winners this season. Like when they've needed him to step up and secure points for them, he's done it. He's also probably going to be the only 50-goal scorer in the National Hockey League this year. And he probably will end up around 55, 56. And if he gets hot, who knows? So, yeah, I mean, he's been outstanding. It's funny because Kucherov would win the Art Ross if it ended today. And we talked about Hellebuck, we talked about McKinnon, we talked about Draisaitl, and Kucherov's on pace for like 120-point campaign, which is also pretty damn impressive. In fact, Kucherov leads the league in points per game as well, which is pretty impressive.
Could Kucherov pass? Could he pass McKinnon if he beats him in scoring?
I mean,
points per game,
well, look at this. Like right now, Kucherov has 3 more goals than McKinnon in 5 fewer games. They have the same amount of points. He has a better points per game average. He has 9 game-winning goals, which is insanely impressive. Well, Kyle Connor's got 8. So, yeah, I mean, we're probably selling Kucherov a little bit short when we talk about, who's going to be that third guy, I think.
He's not even listed right now. I mean, McKinnon's back to 9-1. And you got to pick him between Draisaitl and Hellebuck. It is sort of funny, though, and it just speaks to how, I mean, this is the inherent bias towards the forwards. But going into the weekend, Hellebuck was, I think, minus 125.
Yeah.
Wins 2 games, gives up 1 goal in 2 games, and now has better odds. Like, explain that one to me. I mean, I get it. Leon had a big game and he's back, and he was probably undervalued just because they weren't sure if he was going to come back right now. But
I mean, if like either one of those 2 guys, I mean, both of them are having Hart Trophy caliber seasons. I mean, it's tough. I am very curious to see where the voters go on this one, man. Trev says today he thinks that it'll be Hellebuck somewhat convincingly, with the fact that goalie hasn't won it in a while and he's doing things that you said like really haven't been done in a long time. But Draisaitl's having a hell of a year too. I don't know. And here's the other one that's interesting. I'm just looking at the Calder Trophy. I might be mistaken, but I think like 3 weeks, a month ago, weren't we saying like get Lane Hudson right now at plus money because they had Celebrini and Michkov? And we're like, I remember talking about it. I said, look at the points. Hudson's like outscoring these guys. And now he's a minus 385 to win the Calder. So hopefully some of you got on Lane Hudson when we were talking about him. Probably would have been 4 Nations break when we were talking about that, Huss, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Just not to dump on Lane Hudson, but are we writing off Mac Celebrini? Because at plus 325, I mean, listen, Hudson just has the gaudy offensive numbers and the 50 assists, and I mean, I guess that's going to put him right into that spot. But I mean, Celebrini has been basically the top player on his team all year long. Incredible 200-foot player. He's had a great season. Like I'll be fascinated to see how that voting ends up, but I think it'll be really, really close. Like, to be honest.
So you're thinking it's close enough to be worth the sprinkle on Celebrini right now?
Yeah. For me right now, I mean, if you wanted to make Hudson the favorite, I can live with that. But to me, it's a lot closer than we're seeing right now in the odds. And heck, if somebody had a Hudson 4-1 ticket from earlier, now's a good time to maybe get on the other side of plus 325, because I don't think
could be a spot to hedge. Yep.
Anybody else. I mean, a similar predicament. I mean, there's myself and a whole bunch of people that are on 20-1 or more Hellebuck tickets. probably would have been prudent to jump on Leon at 4-1 and one of those McKinnon numbers at 6 or 8-1. And then just be in a really good spot. I couldn't bring myself to do it though. We were all in. It was a no hedge situation.
No hedge heli. It's a no hedge heli play.
Exactly.
Let's get to a couple of chats. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Let's see here. Okay, so X-Ray J's asking us, where are the Jets if Heli doesn't play a game? Are they battling for a President's Trophy? Where are the Oilers if Leon doesn't play a game? Battling for a playoff spot? Why is Comrie 8-9? Does he have 9 losses and Hellebuck's got 10? And Comrie's only played 17 games. Like that helps Hellebuck's cause as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're for actual most valuable player, I mean, it's not even close. I mean, the Oilers should love Connor McDavid. Like, it's. I
mean, the Jets do have a pretty good team in front of Hellebuck this year, though, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
But I guess this is the point. He plays goalies are inherently more valuable. If your goalie has a bad game, you're probably
you're screwed. You don't have to tell us about that in Edmonton, buddy.
It's very difficult to compare, a player like Draisaitl to a player like Connor Hellebuck if we're just talking about the actual definition of most valuable. I mean, if it truly was the most valuable player, a goalie would probably win it every year. So, I mean, that has to be taken into consideration. I think we all get that. And that, in a way, is sort of the reason why it has been so much tougher for goalies to get into this conversation. So you have to do something really historic. Like, to Comrie's defense, he had a poor game against Buffalo, his last start. And that was the 9th loss. But he did go through a 2-month period where he didn't get a win. And every time he played, he actually played quite well, but the Jets just didn't score. Like, I think he had like one or two goals against or run support, I should say, in those games. So I will say this, Comrie has been better than his record shows, but I mean, what Hellebuck is doing is just, we'll be talking about it today. We've got a great Winnipeg sports historian on it. I mean, this is the individual greatest season in Winnipeg Jets history, and I'm not sure that it's close. And I think that at this point, regardless of what happens with the Hart Trophy, you'll be able to comfortably say that without question, Hellebuck is the greatest NHL player ever to wear a Winnipeg Jet jersey. There's been no MVPs. There's been no Norris trophies. I mean, he's the only guy to win individual hardware outside of Dale Howardchuk's Calder Trophy and Teemu Selanne's Calder Trophy.
I was going to say, Selanne got the Calder too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Selanne was here
a 76-goal rookie season was pretty insane too, though.
Absolutely. But I guess that is one thing that's never been done before. It's a unique situation because he did come in at 22.
Yeah.
He was
still 76 to 76.
Yeah.
There's no, that's one of those, no rookies ever coming in and scoring 76. Those types of things. I mean, it's going to live in infamy forever. But I know what you're saying about Hellebuck, considering how long he's been there and what he's been able to do.
What's up with McDavid? Because I
don't know. He's not traveling on this trip, and it's a 4-gamer.
Really?
I guess he could get down and join them at some point. But he's not traveling. Stuart Skinner's not traveling to start the trip. Ekholm's not traveling to start the trip. So, they're missing some guys right now, which, I mean, it's an interesting trip too, because they get the Golden Knights to start. Then they get the Sharks. Then they get the Kings in a huge game on Saturday afternoon. And then they get the Ducks. If Draisaitl can have a monster road trip and they come back like with 5 or 6 of possible 8 points, going to go a long case in that Hart Trophy conversation as well, right? So big trip here without Connor McDavid at least to start it.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at the standings here. So, I mean, Vegas is pretty much running away with this division right now. And listen, you got 9 games left for the Oilers and the Kings to basically jockey for. And
there's two head to head. There's 2 head to head. There's this Saturday, and then there's again on the 14th, Monday, April 14th. You this.
How much do the Oilers care if they have home ice advantage against the Kings, knowing that they're playing the Kings?
We've asked that question a lot.
Is that a big deal?
I mean, I
7-4 at home.
Yeah,
I will point that out.
Like, I think it's a bit of a bigger deal than I think the team thinks it's a big deal. You know, they've beaten the Kings 3 times in a row, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, if there's a game 7, I'd rather have it here in Edmonton than in a building where the Kings lost less than a handful of times all season. You know what I mean? So, and fair. The Kings are good. The Kings are really good. I think this Kings team is better than any of the other 3 teams that the Oilers played. And the Oilers aren't as good as they were last year. So, I'm very Vegas game will be something. The other 2 against the bad teams in California. That game against the Kings on Saturday, buddy, just to kind of get a real read for where things are at heading towards another first-round matchup between these 2 teams. I'm really excited for Saturday's game.
No, that'll be fun. Hey, I wanted to ask you. It's so funny how guys' narratives can change year over year. Last year around this time and in the playoffs, I just remember from doing these shows with you and watching EST, like people were ready to, if you would have taken Darnell Nurse's contract for nothing, they would have been like, oh, thank you.
Ultimate switcheroo.
He just had like a complete 180 from last year. I'm watching the game on Saturday and he's like, okay, and then I looked at some of the underlying numbers for the game. I mean, he was breaking the chart. He was positive in metrics in every aspect. Like, is this recent or when you look at this season?
No,
overall,
it's pretty much been all season, buddy. Like
amazing.
It is. I mean, he was the whipping boy of all whipping boys for the last couple of seasons in this market. And you know what he's done? He's not making big mistakes right now. You know, he's not trying to do too much with it offensively. I think he's been outstanding. I mean, he's been, and a lot of the, you know, I don't know how it is in Winnipeg. I mean, do you guys have a whipping boy? Like, it seems like everybody loves everybody.
About him in the chat right now.
Logan Stanley? Okay, Logan Stanley.
Big Stan has been that guy. But again, Big Stan is a 6th defenseman.
That's the thing. Like in Edmonton, we go from Darnell Nurse, and this year it's Bouchard and Skinner, your number 1 goalie and one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. Like,
we don't screw around with pairings.
No, we don't sit here and go, oh, Ty Emberson's the whipping boy. Like, that's not how we do it, Huss. If you're gonna whip boy somebody, you gotta whip boy the big boys. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah, but Nurse has been outstanding, and you know what? They're gonna need him to be that way if they're gonna do any sort of damage in the playoffs, because Matthias Ekholm was sick for like a couple months. He missed some time. He's out right now. He looks like he's lost like 10 to 20 pounds. He's just not what he was the last couple of years. When you watch the Oilers, like, damn, Ekholm's exactly what they've needed back there for a long time. He's not that guy right now. So they're going to need Darnell Nurse to be very, very good in the playoffs this year. Go ahead, Huss.
I was just going to say, I mean, I just remembered, you know, the heat that he was taking. And listen, I know he makes a ton of money, and with that comes a lot of, you know, people will be on you a lot more when you got a big contract and you're sucking than if you're just, you know, an average paid or lower down in the lineup. But he looks like he's ready for the playoffs, which is kind of surprising when you say this team isn't as, I mean, like this could be a long question, but when you say this team isn't as good as they were last year, where are they lacking? Because last year it kind of seemed like they were a lot top heavier. Although I guess we're just looking at the loss all the way and loss.
Yeah, they're much more top heavy this year. Yeah. Like if you go and look, like Hyman's come around here for the last 20 games or so. That's helped. Nuge had that good little stretch, but they're much more top heavy this year than last year. So, I mean, they just, you know, I was guilty of it as well. Like you see them start signing guys when you didn't think they were going to be able to sign many guys. And, you know, with free agency, you're like, oh, they got Arby. Oh, they got Skittle. Like, but they, you know, what we didn't witness at that exact time was they got a lot older and slower.
Well, it cost them those 2 young players.
Well, Holloway, Broberg, McLeod is, and always will be one of the softest players in the National Hockey League, but his speed was important to the team. Warren Fogle would crash and bang, and he could skate good. He just set career highs with Los Angeles. Like it was a group that had been together for a few years and came this close to it, and then kind of a mini teardown to get older and slower. And that's why I think, I mean, unless their overall big vision, and it could still be proven true, unless their overall big vision was veterans in the playoffs will put you in a better spot than some of these younger. But every single guy they moved on from has more playoff experience than Jeff Skinner. And Arvidsson had played against the Oilers in the playoffs, and you can see the type of player that can kind of get under your skin a little bit there. But, as of this moment, last year's team at the same time of year, to me, is not as good as this year's team. Now, I don't know what happens with Vander Kane. They're still waiting to get Trent Frederick, who they got at the deadline. He might not play until the playoffs. So, there's going to be some pieces that are filtered in here. But then the one positive is Nurse is better. Bouchard isn't having as good a season as he did last year. Ekholm isn't what he was last year. And then obviously goaltending, Skinner's been really bad for a couple of months. If I'm the Kings, this is your chance here to dethrone the Oil in the old Los Angeles-Edmonton playoff rivalry. So we'll see.
Well, and listen, the goaltending is definitely the biggest part of it all. If your guy can't go head to head with the other guy, it is making it happen. Oh yeah, we've got some good curling coming up today. Jake just posted a message. We'll get to that in a minute. Hey, before we get to the ice, and I know we were kind of getting into this hockey conversation.
Yeah.
We do have to shout out you and P. Greggy. The chef was cooking. And dude, I don't know. I was at the hockey game, so I was just kind of following hole by hole. I don't know if you were watching it live, but I
was following it probably a little bit. Well, if you were hole by hole, I was hole by hole following as well. I wasn't watching it live. I was watching a little bit live till Toasty fell off. I had $10 on that big ticket for Toasty. I was just like, come on. Yeah, it would have paid very nicely. I was like, come on, Toasty. Once he fell off a little bit, I spent more time with the family on Sunday. But man, Mimule, it was tight at the end. There were a couple of guys just knocking right on the door.
Well, including freaking Scotty Scheffler.
I know. What did he finish that day? Woodland, 7 under that day? And Woodland was 8 under or something?
Gary Woodland shot a 62. So did Valimaki. Scheffler went 63. My guy, Wyndham Clark, shot a 64, which was nice. And I did have the profit boost tied into the 30% profit boost into Windy top 20. So that was a no sweater. Unfortunately, our other buddy, Tony Finau, I still can't believe he missed a 1-inch putt on Saturday. That really was that the difference? Let's see. He finished at 8 under. If he ended up being at 10 under, he would have been T18. So he missed about a 2-footer.
Yeah, if he rolls in the 2-footer, he's a T20 cash and we hit the parlay.
Yeah, exactly. At 20-1. So
Patty's hit though. I was riding with Patty on his. He had 3 guys to make the cut, and Scheffler top 20. Dude, so nice golf weekend. Getting
everything right now. Patty did there was a Patty knows puck on the weekend that I blindly bet. Of course, it came in. Cash on a Mark Stone empty netter at the end of Saturday's games. So he's doing incredibly well, and we've got we're back at it. We're back at it with the golf this weekend coming up. And by the way, I should mention this. I'm just going to see if this is up in the promos yet. There is going to be a contest coming up, and I'm not sure if it is up. Well, maybe I'll wait before. But anyways, keep your eyes on the promos because there is going to be a contest for golf bettors to win a trip out to the Canadian Open. Really cool package with a couple days at the Open, a Jays game, and then our boy Pat Mayo is coming from Halifax with the whole crew. They're going to be doing a live show in Toronto that weekend as well. Be able to take that in. So I was just texting with Pat earlier, and it looks like that's going to happen. So as soon as that is officially up, locked and loaded, we'll point you in that direction. But keep your eyes out for that coming up in the next few days over in the Coolbet promos.
Hey, a couple other things I want to get to from the weekend, but first I got to get to this text. It's been sitting in the inbox since 11:06 this morning from Dodge Ram Dave. Hello, Hustler. Did you make it out to the Arby's grand opening this past weekend?
Dave, I did not, but it has been brought to my attention that they actually opened the doors on Thursday. I'm glad that you reminded me. I've been very busy with Jet stuff and going to games the last few days, but in fact, that may be my first order of business after WST today to go out and give the new Arby's a run. It's been far too long since I've been together with one of my true loves, the beef and cheddar. And tonight could be that day.
I'm jealous of you. I get to have Arby's all the time. You should be jealous of me. Yep. But when you haven't had it in this long, I'm jealous of what your taste buds are about to get into here, buddy.
It's true. Like, I'll get it when I'm on the road. I remembered I was in I think I was in Saskatoon for the Olympic curling trials doing the show there. And so I was there for, 5 or 6 days. And I was basically ordering Arby's every day. There was one somewhere around, and I would probably 4 of the 6 days I ordered Arby's. And I just remember on the show talking to Remus about it. And I'm like, how in the, what world are we living in? We have an NHL team,
I know,
but we don't have an Arby's? It just didn't make any sense.
How long were you guys Arby's-less?
Well, probably about 3 years, at least three plus. But here's the thing. We used to have a bunch, and they were going by the wayside. And then there was one that was still open in Kildonan Place Mall, but they did a massive reno of the food court. And when the food court was reopened,
no
Arby's wasn't back.
Whoa.
So that was the final dagger, but it had been a slow death. So anyways, for you ESTers that are coming through that need your beef and cheddar, we've got good news. Arby's is back. And I'm hoping that is the start of a few more. We can get some momentum to normalize beef and cheddars again in the province of Manitoba.
It is ridiculous to have a National Hockey League team in your city and not one Arby's. Like this, it's a bad look. It didn't make sense. Welcome back to being a major city, Winnipeg. Welcome back to being a major city. Hey, so how about the Final Four? All number 1 seeds, just the second time ever, first time in like 20 years. Some people have viewed it as like, what a horrible March Madness because the top 4 teams advanced. This should be a great Final Four. 2 number 1s versus like two number 1s on one side and 2 number 1s on the other. This weekend should be terrific.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's pretty chalky. So I think that a lot of the things that we love about March Madness, the crazy upsets and things like that, haven't been there. I kind of think that without, like, just with all this NIL money, it's like, I think the days of, a close call between the 15 and the 2 or those sort of thing. I mean, you could probably make it a 16-team tournament and then put the other teams in a different bracket, and it might be really good. But I mean, listen, for the quality of the teams and the plays, for the people that are really into that, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think it is going to be really good. Your Dukies are looking very good. Florida, that's who I have in my bracket. That was the one game that I paid close attention to. I mean, they came back from the dead there late.
In the last 3-4 minutes, that was crazy. What a run.
Well, so they did it. And then who was it yesterday? Houston and
Auburn.
Auburn, that's right.
Yeah, Duke looks good, man. I think they got 4 first-round picks on that team. And I looked at a mock recently that had 3 of their guys going top 10, which is just... it's rather remarkable. And then the other thing, so, in college basketball, I like the Ken Palm rankings. I don't necessarily understand them. It's a way to rate.
I've heard them mentioned. To rate. Patty brings them up all the time. And like
to rate college football team or college basketball teams, right? So of the top 10 teams all time on those rankings, the 4 final teams this year are inside that top 10 all time. So, like, we might just have the most elite year that we've seen in the tournament. If 4 of the top 10 teams of all time are in the Final Four this year, which is crazy, according to those rankings.
And again, I mean, Jake, if he's in the chat, might know this. You may know this. Cooper Flagg is the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Is there a bunch of other guys in this tournament still on these top teams that are going to be top picks, or is it just sort of flag? Because I mean, like, I remember the last couple NBA drafts, there's like been hardly any American players picked at the top. I mean, didn't they go back-to-back French dudes at the beginning of last year's?
Yeah, there's been a lot of, individual talent coming from overseas. Here's the top 100 right now, according to ESPN 6 days ago. Cooper Flagg's number 1. A couple of guys from Rutgers, Baylor, Texas, Illinois, Oklahoma. Maluak, the 7'2" center from Duke, is number 8. Nepal, the shooting guard from Duke, is number 9. So Duke has 3 of the top 9. BYU, Michigan, Arizona, Florida. Alex Condon is ranked 26th. Auburn's center is ranked 39th. Uzon, the point guard in Houston, is ranked 40th. Another Blue Devil, Isaiah Evans, is ranked 41st. Tyrese Proctor from Duke is ranked 46th. So, yeah, Duke's got like 6 guys in these rankings. Florida's got a couple. Auburn's got 1. So, I mean, yeah, Duke's got 3 guys in the top 9 in this draft. So if you're looking at the draft coming up, I mean, that's why Duke's the favorite to win this thing right now.
Well, guys don't really hang around much anymore. I mean, that's the other thing about how college basketball is so different. I mean, there's so many one and dones. They can get going. Well, anyways, if you're wondering, I do have the futures here for the tourney. Duke is the favorite, plus 105. The Gators are plus 260. Florida, Houston Cougars 4-1. Auburn Tigers 5-1. So it's basically even money on Duke. And if you like one of those other 4 teams, you can still get a pretty good number right now. Florida's 2.5-point favorites at Auburn, and Duke 4.5-point favorites against Houston. Hey, before we get to the slate in the NHL tonight, Jake was just mentioning the curling, and we have an absolute banger this afternoon at the World Championships. Brad Jacobs, undefeated, 3-0 against Bruce Mouat of Scotland, undefeated, 3-0. These going into the event, I believe Mouat was plus 125 and Jacobs was slightly ahead of that at plus 140 or so. And Mouat has really dominated the men's side of curling. We know how difficult it is just to win Canada to get there. He's been there every year, number 1 on the Grand Slam. So not only do we have a great match to get in on beforehand, and I guess this is 2 o'clock here in Winnipeg, 1 o'clock in Edmonton. Canada's minus 105, a slight underdog. Scotland minus 127. But what we don't normally get, certainly in these round robins, that we are going to, courtesy of the great hot dog himself, live betting throughout the match today. So if you are locked in on Canada-Scotland this afternoon, keep your eyes on Coolbet throughout the afternoon, because we will have live wagering. I imagine, at the end of ends for sure. I'm not sure whether, we'll see how, you might even be able to get in after big shots actually within the ends, but it'll be on throughout. So lock it in at either minus 105 for Canada, minus 127. There is minus 1.5 for Scotland is plus 142. If you want to take an extra rock for Jacobs, or an extra point, plus 1.5 for Canada is plus 192. But if you look, they've also got a whole bunch of other adjusted numbers. Now, again, I don't think either of these teams are going to be winning by 3 or more. But if you thought that was going to be the case, you can, we can tweak it to some big lines. And that's been a big improvement at Coolbet lately. When you're looking at lines, a few other options, and that's when you just click on it to the side. And the total for total points is 12.5. I think I might lean to the under on that one at minus 125, just knowing how good both of these teams are. I think there will be a bunch of singles throughout. We could have a blank or two as well, knowing how important the hammer is. But this is going to be great. I'm going to be getting this on the TV while we're doing WST and be able to saddle in for the second half of it after we finish the show today. Canada, Scotland, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, with live betting on Coolbet. Muat versus Brad Jacobs, both undefeated. Going to be a beauty.
Ladies and gentlemen, Briar Tuck.
Yes, that's right.
NHL slate tonight. We do have 4 games in the National Hockey League tonight, probably enough to milk some sort of parlay out of. Let me get you your starting goaltenders tonight in these 4 tilts. Nashville and Philly. Fedotov will start for the Flyers. Saros is unconfirmed for the Preds. Minnesota and New Jersey. Gustafsson versus Markstrom there. Wedgwood will start for the Avalanche. Dan Vladar will go for the Calgary Flames. Side note, Nathan McKinnon to score a goal at plus 116 was our play of the day on the Nielsen show this morning. He has 17 goals in 29 games against the Calgary Flames. And then the Stars and the Kraken tonight, Ottinger and Joey Decord, unconfirmed at this point. Huss, what are you looking at, man?
Well, I found it interesting. I was on this and I'm like, oh my God, sometimes like you leave a Coolbet screen up in one of your million tabs and you go back a couple days later, realize you were using a different one and the games from like a day or 2 games are still on without the odds. I thought that was the case because Minnesota's in New Jersey. New Jersey was just in Minnesota on the weekend. They're playing a very, very rare home and home between these two teams. And New Jersey went into Minnesota and beat them on Saturday after losing 4-0 to the Jets the night before. I was not particularly impressed with Jersey on Friday night. I was surprised that they went into Minnesota on the second end of back-to-backs and beat them. I have to admit, I think this number at plus 130 on the Wild is actually pretty tempting, as much as I don't really want them to win this game. And that's always it's always something that conflicts you when you're making bets. But it's tough to beat a team 2 times in a row. This is just the second road game that Minnesota has played since at least March 11th. Like they had 9 of their last 10 have been at home. They're a good road team. They're going to be, by the way, hitting the road before the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, this week they're all out. I mean, they got the Devils, they got the Rangers, and they've got the Islanders. Now the Devils are comfortably in their playoff spot. Just looking, they're 8 points clear of the New York Rangers. I mean, they basically know that they're going to be on the road playing the Hurricanes in the first round. So, and I mean, Minnesota's basically in as well, but of course they've got St. Louis on their ass. And I think both Minnesota and St. Louis would love to be in that 7th spot and cross over to the Pacific. Not really as much to avoid Winnipeg in the first round, but I think you'd agree that you'd rather be in a group with Vegas, Edmonton, LA than Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, I mean, I think that this is a team. Now, we've talked about the Wild all year. I mean, they're way better on the road than they are at home. That's the other crazy thing about them. They're 20-11 on the road. They're 19-17 at home. So, considering they just lost to this team, I like the plus 130 on Minnesota in this one today. As far as the other games, Calgary, I mean, as much as we said Vancouver's dead, Calgary's just about there. I think their playoff odds are something like 12% right now. They could certainly boost them with a win against the Avalanche, but I have a feeling that the Avalanche aren't going to be in a particularly great mood after losing at home to St. Louis on the weekend, and that probably means a long night for the Calgary Flames. I could even wrap my head around the puck line for the Avalanche.
Puck line, yeah. I mean, I was looking at regulation, but if we're going to go regulation, might as well just go puck line because it's minus 104. Already puts it up to plus 351. As we mentioned earlier, McKinnon has kind of had his way with the Calgary Flames. Dustin Wolf won't be in net for them. Here are recent results between Colorado and Calgary. Colorado has won 9 of the last 10, including 7 in a row by scores of 4-2, 4-2, 6-2, 6-5, 3-1, 4-1, 4-1. So they've actually covered the puck line against the Flames in 7 consecutive head-to-head games, buddy. And 2 of those, one in February and then one earlier in March, 4-2, 4-2 both times, and those were in Calgary. So Colorado to continue to just do what they've been doing against Calgary for about a year and a half, 2 years, minus 104.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely like those two. Now, there's the other games. I don't know if you've got to lean on this Preds-Flyers game. I mean, Phillies look pretty good coming out of the coaching. We were saying there's the new coach bump.
Yeah.
There might be the good riddance Torts bump for the Flyers. They seem to have had a lot of energy since Torts left.
Didn't Michkov have like 4 goals in 2 games since Torts left? I think that's what I saw over the weekend. They've scored 13 goals in the 2 games since Torts was walked out. Nashville, same as they've been essentially all year. 3 wins in their last 10. Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia minus 122 with the way that they're rolling offensively right now, buddy. I do not hate that.
Then we've got that other game.
Dallas minus 167 on the money line in Seattle.
Now, they just played on Seattle, and Dallas whooped them pretty good. Like, we're sitting here in Winnipeg going, can somebody please mix in a loss for the Dallas Stars in one of these games? But they went out and they took care of business on Saturday. I mean, I guess this would be putting Dallas on this ticket for you to be somewhat of an emotional hedge where if Seattle somehow wins and blows up the parlay, you're kind of happy at least for your team, but you're not necessarily happy for it. I've got a hard time making a case for the Kraken right now outside of, well, it's tough to beat a team 2 times in a row. And these games are both in Seattle. I mean, Dallas has been there all weekend. They probably went to the aquarium or something yesterday, and now they're ready to go again. So, I mean, I would be fine on either side. I mean, of those if we want to make it a 3-gamer. But I mean, I think starting with Minnesota and the Colorado puck line is kind of the basis for it. And if you got a better feeling on one of those winners,
I think I like Philly. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say this. Minnesota, Colorado puck line, Philly, and Dallas is plus 12-13. I'm just saying if we wanted to just run the table with all 4 games tonight. If we take Dallas, yeah, so it would be Mini, Philly, Dallas on the money line, then Calgary or Colorado puck lines plus 12-13. If we take Dallas out and just roll with that Philly play, they've been 13 goals the last 2 games, it's plus 721 still. Even with just the 3 games. Okay,
yeah. Why don't we do that? I mean, as we all know, the more legs you add on the parlay,
it gets a little bit scarier. You know what, though? Because I said it, I am going to. I'm going to be in on all 4 tonight on my side. But just for the parlay, just for the parlay. Let's.
So let's lock that in. Wild money line, Flyers money line, and then the Avalanche puck line. Plus 721. We'll probably be pushing 8-1 when Jake and the fellas get taken care of over at Coolbet HQ.
It's coming up at WST, Huss.
Well, I mean, a big recap of a big weekend for the Jets. We'll talk Hellebuck. Mike McIntyre is going to join us and set up this road trip. Team leaving today in LA tomorrow. And then Vegas on Thursday night. So we're going to get into that. And then everything else coming out of the weekend. We'll talk a little golf. We will mention, and you know what? We'll be staying on top of this curling. I mean, if there's one place that people are locked in on curling, it's right here in Manitoba. Even if Brad Jacobs is not I guess he's technically representing Alberta right now. So after the big switch over. So we'll be paying attention to that, but just a lot of hockey talk. And of course, I look forward to letting everybody know about our partner parlay today when we get into the Coolbet lines a little bit later on.
Blue Jays minus 169 against the Nats. Jays 2-2 coming out of the series against Baltimore. Any lean on the Blue Jays? Are you with them or are you fading them tonight?
Well, I overall I think I've been maybe naively optimistic about the Jays. But this is where it gets interesting as you get into the deeper part of the
rotation.
So Bowden Francis is going right now. And I mean, those are sort of the guys that are going to be the difference makers one way or the other. Now, listen, at minus 175, probably tough to back the Jays against anybody at that number. But again, baseball's weird. I mean, they can either be close games or they can be runaway. I mean, maybe you want to get a little aggressive. Let's see. What do we have the run line here for the Blue Jays today?
Well, Timmy Two Shoes over in the chat was saying get on the over 8.5 in this ball game.
Yeah, and that's at even money too. The under is minus 122. The over is plus 100. Plus 125 for Jay's run line as well. So yeah, I think I could. Hey, one thing before we go, what did you make of the Yankees weekend and the new torpedo bats?
What the hell is going on there, hey?
Folks, if you want more info on this, Jeff Passan has a great piece at ESPN on like how the guy came up with this, how they've been introduced. I guess Stanton was using one last year, but I mean, they had 9 home runs in one game and 20 runs against the Brewers.
Yeah, they had 20 runs against the Brewers. They they have 34 runs so far this season or something like that.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So, I'm just looking here at Joe Pompolano says there seems to be a lot of confusion about the Yankees' new torpedo-style bats, but they're perfectly legal. MLB bats must be made from one piece of solid wood and be no more than 2.61 inches in diameter at their thickest part and not exceed 42 inches in length. So no problems here with the torpedo bat.
They're going to take over MLB. Like they may have to, if they want, to change the rules and, add more caveats in that you can't do basically what they're doing right now. But it really is brilliant. I mean, they wanted to have, essentially it started, they were like, okay, we want to have more power or force in the middle of the bat where the sweet spot is. So what they've done is they've moved the label down and they've thinned it out so that you can still have the bat speed, but the area where the bat hits it most has more of the mass in it. So, but I'd highly recommend the Passan article if you want to get into the science of what it is. I just feel bad for the Brewers relievers. Like, can you imagine those guys? They're the first ones to see this. They go into opening day and they're getting absolutely shelled and going, what the hell is going on? I mean, everyone's going to pick up and get on them. I mean, imagine the amount of calls that company or whoever makes those
torpedo bat company right now. Yeah.
Like,
I saw somebody tweet over the weekend, the guy who invented the torpedo bat is about to get insanely rich. It sounds about right. All right. So Winnipeg Sports Talk is coming up over on the WST channel. We have the oil stream with myself and Tom Gazzola getting rolling here at noon on Edmonton Sports Talk. That'll lead into EST afternoons and then the Reed Wilkins show as well. Huss, you have a great show today, buddy. Enjoy the 4-game slate tonight and enjoy your Arby's, my man. Enjoy your Arby's.
Couple beef and cheddars.
Send me a picture.
Hopefully a curling win. Live betting. I'm going to be on this afternoon as well.
Oh, there you go. Man, you're living your best. This guy's living his best life. Best life right now. Thank you very much for joining us in the Lock Shop today. Best of luck tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you, King.